Alright, so this is the end of our meadows 575. Welcome to the channel. I just wanted to do a little bit of nostalgia, kind of go back, show you what we started with. This is the furthest back I can go back because I want to play this map, which is totally awesome and totally cool. The map designer came in and made a couple of changes up here, so I couldn't start a new map to kind of show what that looked like, but this is cycle 2. This is kind of what we had going on. We're in the process of building upstairs, getting up here to block off this area so that if we get a bad tide, we are prepared for it. But I just kind of wanted to show the progression of what it looked like at the beginning of, and all the work that we had that we've done really to get to the point of us being where we're at. Like, we have farms in here, we have all that metal's gone, all that metal's gone, all this is gone, we got housing and everything. So yeah, it doesn't look the same as it did anymore, so which is I like the way it looked. And then as we jump forward, obviously we're in cycle 14 now, so we've jumped, was that 12ish cycles forward. Maybe actually that might be, yeah, about 12 cycles. So at this point we have completed our first dammed up here. We have a little bit of a tree farm going. We have our aqua farm going. We have officially blocked this off. We have our bad water that is filling into here. We have our industry going. We still have our metal, and we have a little bit of a food factory coming up over here, along with our zip lines, alternative energy. Like, we're starting to piece together slowly our map and get some housing going. Obviously we jumped up from about 14ish beavers on. We now have double pumps. Like, we've started to move and groove as far as like everything's concerned, and really end up helping the beavers for betterment. And at this time I don't know what else. So we just unlocked, I don't know if we just unlocked it, but we're starting to get the bigger water cycle things going. So we have those. We have some TNT and paper. Do we have TNT? I don't think we have T. Yes, we do. We have TNT made. We have our electric. We have yet to put in our gravity batteries. We're kind of coming in over here to fix this a little bit. We have our bad water delegated this way, so we're able to grow over here. We're starting to get some meadow just in case we need that in the future. And yeah, we're starting to level this out a little bit to add more water into here so we can actually water our beavers. Got rid of most of the single little 30 gallon, I want to call it gallon, water tanks, and we've upgraded to 300, which then obviously now we're getting to the 1200 ones. So, and we're starting to collect a little bit of maple syrup. That'll come in useful later on. We're obviously able to hold some water, so we got little pockets here and here. This one never lasted long, but this one turned out to be very useful, especially once we got rid of this metal ruin thing. What is that called? Yeah, the ruins. So once we got rid of this space became very useful for wood and all that stuff. And we have a couple of mail factory. This never boosted up, but I mean, all in all, we did pretty well. And once again, we still had the zip lines going. We're starting to upgrade our storage a little bit and get that to where that's more satisfactory for the amount of beavers we're holding. Like, water was our biggest issue on this, and that was probably due to some poor judgments on my account, not being able to pull it up. Maybe instead of going under, I maybe should have made this all one area, or maybe like had it flow from here Right through here, roughly. And then flown into here, like redesigned it. We could have done that. That would have been pretty cool, to say the very least. But yeah, this is just kind of what we were looking at in cycle 14, day 8. A lot of building had taken place, a lot of starting to get some well-being stuff going, and that definitely did help a little bit in this, but we didn't really take that off until later in down the road. All right, now that we are back, we've jumped another 7 11 cycles. So we haven't started on our canal yet, but we have started moving our industry over here to kind of help. We got a couple of water wheel things going. Haven't really done much over here. We've kind of expanded our science. We did start digging, so we did have that. We're digging down to make this bigger. We've kind of started clearing out this. We've obviously gotten rid of our metal. I feel like this was when we were about to start. We're getting closer to starting our project with this. No, we're not, because we still have this. We might have been. Where are we? How much of this do we got uncovered? No, we weren't there yet, but you can tell we had plans to then start digging out a hole to add a farm in. We have started our elevation level of where we were going to end up putting our housing, getting rid of that to add more workspace in. We were starting to kind of demolish this area out to make bigger water farmland. We added our aqueduct, which that was a pretty cool build. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed with that. That was definitely my first. We could have this could have been different. There's obviously a few mistakes made that, you know, made this kind of to have later on in life. But we did have our batteries. That was also a fun project. I did enjoy that. Those came in clutch, especially where we are in our current area. We finally got rid of our tree farm, moved that up here, which didn't really seem that useful for us. Getting down in the later part of the game, just because of how much wood we were then starting to pull away from to make our little industry canal thing that we ended up getting going. But yeah, this is definitely. And then we also added a little bakery spot up here. We all have our double pumps now going, so I was definitely starting to move up and starting to get a little bit more clustered as far as population and everything and what we have going. Wood definitely did. That's probably why we put the birches in at this current point in time, is to help with the overall wood situation, because we were definitely lacking in that department at this current point in time. But our water seems to be holding up. This did seem to have the idea. We are in the process of building another one of those. You can see we have the initial foundation for our apartment set up, so definitely starting to take shape to what we have currently. All right, so now we are at the point of we have our canal built. We're in the process of making robots. We have 11 of them right now. So we have jumped forward about another 10 cycles. We have our apartments fully set up. We have our dam, lake, whatever you want to call it, fully set up. We have added our bad water rig, so we have beavers fully just sucking red sludge all over the place. We have our metal works thing going, because all the metal is gone off this map now. We are starting to collect what is this called, catalyst, which at this current point in time I didn't know that they also needed biofuel. Maybe I did, but when I first built this I didn't know that they needed biofuel came later. That's why they're small tanks, because I had to figure out where we were going to put the bigger tank. I didn't say that in the episode, and I don't think I did. We're on the way. This is still open. I don't know if we've started yet. We have started. We have started our second underground tunnel. So this is probably right before the second time lapse, because obviously we did the first where we got rid of all this, and we are now in desperate need of wood. I do remember that struggle, and still to this day struggling a little bit. And we're going through a lot of planks, so I know in the episode I'm about to start coming in, starting to delete some, so we can basically get those planks back to put back into here and get that finished. But I am liking this. We are slowly, obviously this was at probably our peak of having beavers. We're almost at 200 beavers, and we are I did add obviously the extra water, because before these 4 tanks came in, we were sitting at about 5,000 things of water, and pretty much any long duration that was probably about 15 day cycles of either bad water or a drought. We weren't surviving it, so I had to come to a realization that we needed to cut down some beavers, and that's pretty much the main reason why I did it. But once we added these 4 tanks, it became pointless to do that, because we were at that point having so much water. I think we've topped out around somewhere around 11k worth of water that we're storing up. And at this point, obviously you can kind of see we're starting to elevate a little bit our food industry, or our food housing, so we're able to get more stuff going. We have maple pastries, which they love, and we're fully stocked on that stuff now. So we have made huge improvements. Like I said, going back through this kind of collage thing of like past events, we did have, I want to say that this was probably the biggest mistake. We needed it deeper, but at that point in time, I think what would have been smart is probably redoing this, like just blocking this off, like with, you know, these little dam pieces right there, and then rebuilding, because for the most part we're not using it. I think we got to the point where, because all of this is full and we're at about 100-ish beavers, maybe 115, that we don't go through all this water, so there's really no need for all these guys to pump all that much. So that kind of helps us be able to use this. And then also we have this being needing to stay full, so we're kind of having double drawn. And obviously at this point it's about to stop feeding into here, so that does kind of create problems. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to do this. I think we're going to cut away to one more little cycle-ish area in between this one and where we currently are. But I think it's cool going back, especially seeing how we started on this map and what we were able to accomplish, and like everything that went into this. Like there was so much building, so much I'm not going to, it was planning to a certain degree. Like we kind of I dropped the ball, not you, but I dropped the ball. And we there's some mistakes made, but it was part of the growing part. Like we were before we got the big warehouses, we're using these and stacking them up. And you know, I feel like allocating some land would have been helpful for like growing bigger. We obviously made usage of going up in the building part of it, which was fantastic, and kind of added a different element to it, because this is weird beyond all recognition. Like you can't even tell me that that's not weird. It looks weird, but it's cool at the same time, if that makes any sense. So it is what it is. We did get rid of our excavators. That did end up happening, obviously, after we dug down to the bottom level of the map. Really was no need to keep them. It was kind of an eyesore at that point. But yeah, we've done a lot of big builds. We've added a huge amount of batteries that really doesn't I mean, when we're going through a drought at this point with these robots, it doesn't really help us all out that much, but I mean, it does kind of helps in a pinch to get us at least the way through a drought, because at the end, these things, once we're not producing power with the wheels and the wind's not blowing, these things like almost free fall to the ground because of how much power we're using. So there's cycle 35, day 15, and our map playthrough, and we're going to cut away to one more. All right, we jumped 4 cycles ahead. We're in cycle 39. We got a bad drought or a bad tide going through, so we do have power up in here. We are and maybe a third-ish of the way done building this. Obviously we've dropped down our population. That was part of I think that might have been, nope, maybe. Anyway, so we got this build, we got this whatever fountain of joy, but we have to have the water level up. And we got this farmer monument, kind of helping the wheat, not the wheat, the corn, excuse me, carrots and potatoes. We got this monument coming in. We do have a buttload of TNT. We have chestnuts and grilled chestnuts. We have a bunch of other, obviously our pastries are filled up, our wheat's filled up. We're working on blueberries, which I decided to add a little bit later. They don't really eat them. That's probably the lowest food source we can actually apply to beavers. Like, that's kind of their last resort type thing. I think we haven't really seen, obviously we have seen it, but like as far as the cutaway, like this is built, obviously some sort of mistakes were made, whether it was me finishing this piece out, which I don't really know, or what have you, but this kind of served its purpose. Obviously we're doing pretty well as far as wood goes. Like, we haven't, the only build that we're really focusing on at this current point in time is the earth cultivator. I'm trying to give life back to the earth after humans destroyed it, and the only civilization left is us. This is also, strangely enough, before we started making the entertainment section over here. I thought we worked on that a little bit sooner, maybe not, but we're about 4 cycles ahead, so it is what it is. At this point, I'm not even sure if it was in the last segment, but if it was, we do have biofuel now, our big tank of it, and during the build, between last episode and this episode, we had biofuel. It just went away, and that was because we're having issues getting bots back in. We went down, I think the lowest form of bot that we had we went down to like 50-ish bots. So I kind of had to bump up population over here and move beavers around to get biofuel going, getting more robots going. Obviously I have a lot of attention being focused on this right now, trying to get that going. So I kind of started slacking a little bit, obviously, on some parts. We don't have water in here. We barely have water in here, but we're only 2K away from being completely topped off, which definitely lasts 100 beavers, or 11 beavers roughly, full amount of time. So we have started integrating bots in, and I feel like if we add those 2 up, we're pretty close to what we were, almost 200 beavers, because that'd give us, you know, 180, 190 something beavers. So pretty close to that population of maxing out. But you can kind of see over this short little span that we did accomplish a great deal, and so glad that I got to take you guys on this journey. And it was just I really enjoyed making these videos. I really enjoyed this whole series. I enjoyed this map. The creator did a fantastic job on this map, and if you haven't played it, I suggest you go into the workshop and download it. It's free, it's fun, and yeah, like, guy who did this person, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but whoever did this, they did they did a real great job. I enjoyed it. And the additions that they made to it for update 7, are we on update 7, the newest update? They put a little cliff in here. I know I didn't discuss it, and maybe I'll cut away to section where I put it in between going where we're actually currently at, and here just kind of show you a brief demo of kind of a few changes that they made. Like I said, the changes that they made were awesome. I loved it. It looks really fun. I'm not going to do it again with the changes, but feel free to play it. I think they did add another level with a few modifications that they did do, level of difficulty, so it'll be interesting to see if I can find anybody doing this map on and see what they did with it. And then obviously if you guys want to show what you guys created on this map, then by all means, I have a Discord. I will attempt to link it in the description below. You guys can post pictures there of like what your maps look like. That'd be really cool to see. And yeah, so let's we're probably gonna jump into the live part, but just know there might be a cutaway where show the new additions to the map. All right, welcome back to our Leather Tail Cove, whatever we decided. I don't even know what I decided to call this map. Anyway, Meadows 7575. This is our full production. This is where we are currently at. 42-day cycle, day 25, 6.7 days left in the bad tide. Obviously we have power. We're charging back up. That was a big drought that we just went through. I want to say it was like a 25 to 30 day drought. Obviously you guys missing most of it. I had to get to a point to where we could then play this and finish it off, because we are now at the point where we just need 100 more tempered planks, fairy logs as I like to call them, because I feel like that just fits with the little twinkle stars on the side of it. Yeah, so we're about to put this into really good use. I do have beavers that are needing places to go. Excuse me, sorry, I have a ginger ale going. The only additions between the last little cutaway and this cutaway is like now we have the entertainment section, we have the little prey area, the dance hall, the merry-go-round, and I also I don't think I did this on a video, but I added a zip line thing because no one was coming over here. Even with all of this stuff, I was getting maybe 1-2 beavers and it wasn't really worth it. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to add this. And then I had to add a post over here because I couldn't directly go from here to here because of this line, but I could go from here to here, so in that case it works. So, and then I think I went around and I added a bunch of contemplation spots just to kind of help with I don't know, them figuring out the meaning of life, whatever that may be. Obviously we've made a bounce back. Our wood is in a tremendous spot. We're getting books, or that's paper, and those are time cards. I think we got books somewhere. Nope, those are gears. Anyway, so we've made a bounce back in wood. We're doing a really great job of storage and keeping up with everything that we have going on. Let's kick this into 3 times speed so we can get this finished. I did want to bring you guys back for the final little bit of it because I didn't want to finish it and then you guys be like, oh, you finished it. I wanted to hear the sounds. I wanted to hear it all. I wanted to see it all, because this is the first time I've ever built the biggest this has to be the biggest building that you can build in this, minus like, I mean, anything that you can mod it in. As far as the base game goes, this is the biggest thing you can build, so I was very wanted you guys to enjoy it, you know. We also did unlock this. I did go through and everything, even if we didn't use it, or not, I unlocked everything. Everything is completely bought and paid for. We were at, like, I want to say 70k, maybe 50k or something like that, somewhere in there, and we completely bought it, everything. I felt like that was kind of important to do, just to say, like, yo, we got everything, even if we might have not used it or it had a need or whatever. I wanted it to be bought. You can see that our overall beaver happiness level is at 40, which is, I would say, pretty impressive. I think that's the highest I've ever gotten, and that was all due to, like, adding some rooftop terrace, some of these contemplation spots. Obviously this little section over here played a part. Some of the decorations did help in that, and yeah, like I said, I'm very happy with what I was able to accomplish. Some of you guys did help out in the beginning, and I do appreciate all the help that I got. It was definitely very beneficial in the beginning part of this playthrough, because this is my first attempt on playing it on hard, so most of the time I do normal level, and I do all right on normal level. I rarely ever die on, actually I don't die. I play this game enough, I don't die on normal anymore. But obviously, if you did watch the first Iron Teeth attempt at hard mode, we did get I got my butt handed to me twice on a very difficult map, I will say. This one was a little bit easier. This one was definitely user friendly. I will say I feel like we did get lucky with the cycle timings. I'm not sure if we would have had this same turnout if we didn't get this going. Oh, we did it. I fully want those. Oh, and we have more. Okay, but we have most of that in store. We got enough. But yeah, so we need to collect some stuff. I didn't know that we had to collect that, but we do have plenty of extract. We do have plenty of paper. I'm glad that we were able to get the paper going, because I did not know that. Now that I know that, for the next time when we get here, I will be ready for that. But even then, we're still, like, I'm hoping we don't have to have those full. If we have to have those full, this episode might get a little bit longer, which is a little bit unfortunate. Where's our paper? That's not our paper. That's our paper. You're making... I don't think I can do anything else. Alright, so we're going to pause you, and we're also going to pause the punch cards, because I just want paper going straight to here. And I can't believe that we need... I mean, this shouldn't take too terribly long, especially with us not... we have nothing else that our paper should be going to, and we got 2 of them going, so... And they take logs, which we have plenty of. So 1 log, 2 paper, so we should be all right. It'll give me a chance to kind of talk about some other stuff. I want this photo. We might have this up in the background. Oh, I can't move it. But anyway, so we have this going. Obviously, we have to get to another 100 pieces of paper, which should be fairly easy enough to accomplish. But anyway, yeah, back at it. I do wish we did change this up. I do wish, maybe we dug this down. I'm not even sure how we would have made this work. Otherwise, the only thing I could think of is making a, aqueduct from here all the way over here or something like that, or maybe just making an aqueduct and then gutting this area and then just having it straight up, like, spill off into here, and then not dig it down, and then just leave it as it is, because we were building so we did have access to like move some of this stuff before it really got like set in stone over here. But it's really hard to make those decisions when you're needing like this land for, this land was always designated from the beginning to be farmland, so it made it kind of important to keep what we had going, because there were times where carrots were pretty much the only thing that were allowing us to make it through whatever bad event we were going through. So it was kind of almost a nostalgia point of view to keep those going, because for the longest time what was feeding us was these two farms. Because if we remember, this whole section right here, before we made this a water area, this whole area was nothing but trees. We did end up obviously scaling over here, making another huge potato farm and some sunflower farm, and you know, all the bits and bobs over here. But yeah, so it kind of, hindsight, it's like, I feel like we did the best for what we could do, and it seemed to work out pretty well in the end. Like I said, the only regret is it just being over here and being so low, which makes sense because we're able to pump a large amount of water constantly throughout the bad tides, because I feel like it was around in the teens that we started getting 30-day droughts and bad tides and stuff like that. And obviously 30 days that soon in the game, you're like, oh well, you're at, you know, teen level bad tide. I mean, yeah, you are, but you're like, you're going, okay, do I grow, do I wait, how do I do this? And you know, you're asking questions and you're like, okay, I can grow because I need these jobs filled. And then you fill them, and then a bad tide comes or a drought comes, and you're like, okay, well, we're going to be able to water all this. So we did have low points and problem points and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, for the most part, I feel like we rose to the occasion and we were able to handle those, if not just barely hanging on. Food stopped being a problem, I would want to say around 5 to 10 cycle, and it was so simple. So food was very rarely ever a problem after that. It was more of water, and I think that falls on me because I never really grew our water with our population, other than going from the 30-gallon barrels to the 300 to the 1200 gallon barrels. We had a lot of 30-gallon ones, and then I built like 4 of the 300 ones, and then I was like, oh well, we should be fine with 3 1200 ones, which I think gives us about 5-ish thousand gallons of water. So, but in reality, we probably needed, how many did we have? We had 4. We probably had 3, and then we had 4 a little bit later. But my point being is, we had these, which was fine. But if I would have added maybe 2 of these or 1 every like 3 cycles, I think we would have been fine until we got to this number. Obviously, having a large population played a huge factor into that. So getting the bots was definitely a smart move in that aspect. What's needing water? Oh, that one. Alright. Oh, the Lido. Okay, yeah, so we've dropped below water level. And then obviously, because we had such a large food storage area, when these fell off, it wasn't that big of a deal. Or when this dried up, it wasn't that big of a deal because we had so much extra food coming in to feed everyone. Because obviously 11k, we could probably go through maybe a 60-day drought without really feeling I'm not even going to go double that. 30, maybe a 40, 45 day, maybe a 50. I don't know about 60. 60 definitely not with water. But I think a 50 would just, if we only had to focus on food, I think we would have been all right. That was definitely never a problem. Power was never a problem, even before we had all these gravity batteries. The wind was perfectly sufficient enough. It was only when we added the bot making factories that then power became kind of an issue, as it were, because of we had so many beavers going. And I'm just going to go through here and see if I can't just unlock all this and get bots going in all of these things. I thought I unlocked all this, apparently I didn't, but that, it's fine. It'll work itself out. I do want all of my builders and everything like that to be haulers. And start making these guys food. And then the cycle would really, complete itself as far as like everything else is concerned, because now we're having, beavers take care of pretty much everything. If I'm not being too mistaken. Oh, we still have beavers pumping water. Let's get rid of that. I think the one job I was never fully able to get rid of, or not get rid of, but have my bots do, was the tree pickers. So that's an unfortunate effect, but I mean, in the end, it's all right. We do have enough to do that. All right, well, I'm just kind of waiting for the water to come back to kind of piece together all this little extra stuff. And as you can kind of tell, we're well, these should be going up because we do have bad tide coming, so there should be really no problem in that aspect. Let's make sure all these are blue lights. Except for you. Make you a blue light, you're a blue light. Yep. That's pretty impressive. Now we have 41 beavers that are just able to just sit there and chill. And oh, I did make those guys. Oops. I did make those guys the bots. And I think the bots did help us out a lot, especially with like their power, their speed, all of that fun jazz. I think they were definitely able to help us overcome a lot of different problems. I do wish that we were able to get this number down lower, because that would have been really cool if we could have, yeah, flipped that around. We might try that in the next episode, or the next series, I should say, but it won't be this one, obviously, because we're saying farewell to this Meadow 7575. I think we've played it to the max. We've gotten everything pretty much as far as we can get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's really not much more we can do. I mean, I can pitter patter around and do some aesthetics and, maybe flatten some stuff out and that kind of thing, but in all honesty, we're asking for a lot. So didn't really want to do that to you guys, but I did want to do like a farewell video of like our time here, the time that we spent, because for like it or not, I mean, I spent a lot of time with these beavers. What would be cool is to have like a generational thing, to where like you could click on beaver, if I can get a hold of one, like this guy, and then, you know, a little tree there, and then have like some sort of family tree come out and be like, look, he started way up here and all the way down here. That'd be cool. Obviously it's very unnecessary, but I mean, it's cool because I would like to say we're probably on like 20 or maybe 30 generations worth of beavers here. Yeah, I think we're roughly in that ballpark. So just trying to get everything watered back up. I feel like we should have a longer wet cycle than normal, just because we did, like I said, this last cycle was about probably a 25-day drought, 25 to 30, and so we were able to get through here. And I want to say that I left you guys on 40, so from 40 to 43 we got this thing built. And obviously it was a couple of long cycles, but needless to say, that's okay. And then even then we're still able to, what's cool is it takes us about 2 days for the water to get from start to finish. And I'm sorry, I keep hitting my mic. I moved my mic around, and it's apparently in my way because I like to talk with my hands, but you guys can't see that. So how you play a game with talking with your hands, it's very difficult sometimes. Lack of hand movement causes my brain to stop. But anyway, so it takes about 2 days to get down here, and obviously we still have water to draw from, so in that aspect it's very smart. But it does take us the better part of almost 3 days to get water from point A to point B. Yeah, this is our map. This is what we created. This is all that we put in it. I feel like for the most part, other than like some pathways, we've pretty much used almost every square inch of it. Every square inch has a purpose. This does not. Oh, I did try. I haven't completed it. I totally forgot about this until now. But here's my attempt at making this all connect. And then I thought about it and I was like, it doesn't matter any way I put it, because if this fills up, then I would have to make this go up and up and up and up and up, and then is it really going to work? Because yeah, so did run into that slight issue. Where are we at? Yeah, we're probably at a good enough time. So let's launch this bad boy and see what happens. Wow. Oh, I probably wanted to do that in 1 time speed. That was really magical, except for I ruined it with the speed. But that's so cool. It's all these lanterns. Whoa! I didn't know we did that. Holy cow. Days passed 1,000. Beavers born 1,800. Water consumption 241,000 gallons. Tails painted 2,900. Trees cut down 106,000. Teeth broken 183. Bots manufactured 314. Dynamite detonations 4,000. Wow. Flexible start unlocked on meadows 75. That's cool. Wonders completed. Folktales. Congratulations, you mastered folktales, nature oriented ways. You use this map's resources to build the factions wonders. Wow, this is so cool. I didn't know it did this. And with that, I think it's time that I said I do. And like I said, drop a like, a thumbs up, a comment, and all that other stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Later.